Welcome to this explainer. Have you ever felt that, well, universal frustration of unfulfilled dreams? You know exactly what I'm talking about. That heavy nagging feeling when months, maybe even years, just slip right by. And that massive, incredible thing you've been meaning to do, it still hasn't happened. It's incredibly common, honestly. But today, we're unlocking the actual mechanics of success. We're unpacking a fascinating piece of analysis called the architecture of ambition, turning wishes into goals. And we're going to learn exactly how to build a framework that doesn't just sit there, but actually gets results.
Okay, let's dive into this. Our central thesis today is this quote: "The world rewards specific goals and ambition and discredits vague wishes." Now, this isn't just some fluffy, feel-good motivational quote you slap on a bulletin board or a bumper sticker. Our source material literally breaks this down as an equation, the actual blueprint for how success and recognition operate in our society. It's telling us that getting what you want, it isn't about getting lucky. It's about having clearly defined targets paired with an absolutely relentless drive.
So that brings us to a huge, fundamental question, right? Why do some people succeed while others only ever dream about it? What is the actual difference between the goal achiever and the wishful dreamer? Is it just raw talent? Do they just have more money or resources? Well, according to the text we're analyzing today, no. The dividing line is almost entirely about how we mentally structure our desires before we even take a single physical step. Let's look at the first half of that success equation.
Section 1. Decoding specific goals. The SMART framework.
Our source material emphasizes that truly specific goals follow a very particular formula, which you might know as the SMART framework. That stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. When you've got an objective that hits all 5 of those marks, you know exactly what you're aiming for, no guesswork. The analysis points out that this kind of crystal clear clarity is a massive advantage. Why? Because it lets you create a concrete step-by-step plan. It means you can allocate your time and your resources perfectly, instead of just, spreading yourself way too thin. And most importantly, it gives you a strict way to track your progress. You either hit the mark or you didn't.
And this comparison brilliantly illustrates the exact difference. Contrast a super airy, undefined wish like, I want to be successful, with a hard, direct example from our source text. Increase sales by 15% in the next quarter. I mean, the difference is night and day, isn't it? The first statement is just a hope floating in the breeze. The second one, that's a measurable, concrete goal. You know exactly what success looks like, and you know exactly when the deadline hits.
Which brings us to Section 2, the fuel of ambition, the driving force.
Because look, a highly specific goal is really just a destination marked on a map. You still need a reliable vehicle to actually get you there. Now, what's really interesting about this definition here is how it treats ambition. We usually think of ambition as just a personality trait, right? Like you're either born a go-getter or you aren't. But the text defines it purely functionally as the strong desire and determination to achieve something. It is the literal driving force behind pursuing those specific SMART goals we just talked about. It's the mechanical fuel for your success. Without it, the absolute smartest, most flawlessly planned goal is just ink on a page doing nothing. So what does this fuel actually do for you in a mechanical sense? When you pair a highly specific goal with raw ambition, 3 very distinct things happen the minute things get tough. First, ambition fuels perseverance. When you hit a massive roadblock, and you will, ambition is the thing that stops you from just throwing your hands up and quitting. Second, it motivates consistent effort. It's what drags you out of bed to work on your goal every single day, not just on the days you magically feel inspired. And third, it forces proactive problem solving. Instead of sitting around waiting for a solution to fall into your lap, your ambition makes you go out, dig deep, and figure it out yourself.
Section 3. The trap of vague wishes. What happens when we completely lack direction?
All right, let's explore the darker side of our foundational quote. I wish I were rich. We've all heard somebody say this, and let's be honest, we've probably all playfully said it ourselves at some point. But our source material calls this out as the ultimate example of a completely unspecific, undefined hope. Just think about it for a second. What does rich even mean? Is it $1 million in the bank? Is it just having 0 debt? What is your actual plan to get there? What's the timeline? Statements like this completely lack direction. They're basically like ships drifting out at sea with no compass, no map, and no captain.
And because they completely lack direction, the world discredits them. So what does the author actually mean by that? Well, it means that vague wishes virtually never lead to tangible results or any kind of external recognition. If you don't have a clear target, taking effective action is literally impossible. You can't measure your progress, and honestly, you wouldn't even know if your wish somehow came true. The text makes it super clear that these wishes just remain fantasies simply because they never translate into actionable steps or sustained effort.
Let's move to Section 4 and see how this builds into reaping the rewards, both material and personal. So, when we finally ditch those vague wishes and start pairing highly specific goals with the unstoppable engine of ambition, how does the external world actually react to that internal clarity? Well, according to the analysis, the rewards fall into two specific buckets. First, you've got tangible rewards. These are the material things you can actually see and count, like financial success, major job promotions, public accolades, and real recognition from your peers. Then, on the flip side, we have intangible rewards. These are deeply personal, internal gains. We're talking immense personal satisfaction, the rapid development of tough new skills, and a massive growth in your personal influence. The world literally pays back those who combine specificity with ambition in profound ways, both materially and personally.
So the crucial point is this. The world simply does not know how to reward something that isn't clearly articulated or pursued with deliberate, forceful action. It's just a fact. Society as a whole, your future employers, sudden massive opportunities, they inherently favor individuals who demonstrate absolute focus and drive. When you show the world exactly what you are aiming for, and then you back it up with the fiery determination to actually get there, the world aligns to reward that exact clarity.
Which leaves us with this final, genuinely provocative thought that perfectly summarizes the core message of our source material. I want you to take a hard look at your own life and your own desires right now. Are you passively dreaming, just kind of hoping that a vague wish will someday magically come true? Or are you actively, intentionally pursuing well-defined objectives? Actionable clarity and driven effort are the undeniable mechanical keys to achieving success. The architecture of your ambition is entirely up to you to build. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I hope it gave you a powerful new lens on how to approach your success, and I'll catch you next time.